We recognise the Kaurna people as the custodians of the lands and waters of the Adelaide region and pay our respects to elders past and present. We acknowledge and respect the Kaurna people's cultural, spiritual, physical and emotional connection with their land, waters and community, and we extend that respect to all Aboriginal and First Nations people. Welcome back to Amy and I'm Amy Matthews, and this week we are kicking off our horror month, which I'm really excited about. It's also my birthday month, so it should just be. It is too, yeah. It is. It's Festival of Us.
Yeah. I don't know what date this episode's coming out.
Amy and Abby. It's first week of October, so sometime in there.
Yeah.
Like the 3rd of October, something like that.
Okay, it's not my birthday yet.
No, but the whole month is our birthday.
Yeah.
Anyway, welcome to our birthday month. And we're going to be kicking off Horror Month by talking to two colleagues of ours who are horror experts, which is good because once again we've picked a genre none of us are actually experts in.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we do love. So we are joined today by Oscar Sparks. Hi, Oscar.
Hello.
And Tabby Knight.
Hi.
I have to say, two of the best author names I've ever heard.
Right.
I know. I wish I had an interesting surname.
No.
You're a guy.
I'm a, yeah, I know.
You're a
we
guy.
joke all the time about I'm just a guy.
Yeah,
You
totally.
know that novel by a guy?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So we thought we'd kick off by asking you to share about your research, and I think both of you run. Now I only know it by HAG. What does it stand for? HAG?
Oh, Horror and Gothic Group.
The Horror and Gothic Group, which is a research group and also does really fun stuff. Like I look at your reading lists and your film lists, and it's like, oh, that I wish I was over there.
You're more than welcome.
Yeah, the only problem is time. Is I always want to go, and then it's like I have no time in my schedule to go. But do you want to tell us a little bit about your research? We might start with you, Tabby.
Yeah, sure. So I'm doing my PhD on, I guess, mad science horror is probably the way to talk about it. I'm looking at the female mad scientist archetype and how that differs from the male and what that means. And it's kind of having a resurgence at the moment in feminist horror, so I talk about that. And
Makes sense, I guess, given the context of the world and
yeah, basically, yeah.
both science and women seem to be in trouble.
Yeah, so after like Roe v. Wade and everything, we're seeing like a rise in like body horror that's more about bodily autonomy, and that's kind of where the female mad scientist is kind of coming in.
Yeah. And you're doing creative writing, so you're doing a novel as well.
Yes, yeah. So that's, yeah.
Yeah. And
that's a thing that exists.
it is. It
In
exists
a-
in
in
the
A
world. It's
form.
already done.
I mean, the first draft is done,
Yep.
so it exists in A form.
I think I find the first draft the hardest, so
Yeah.
celebrations.
I'm having a good time now that I'm doing like the second draft and I'm like editing it and I'm like, oh, this is fun.
The first draft was a drag.
Yeah, it took
I
me
found
so
anyway.
long.
Yeah,
It took
same.
me a really long time. I was like, I don't normally take this long to write a book. But yeah, it took me really long. But now it's, yeah.
What was
better.
different? Like, would you say the same, Oscar and Abby? Did you find it quicker to write when it wasn't part of the PhD?
Maybe, but I think because there's like an expectation, like there's a knowledge in my head that people will actually be reading this and that it'll have
Yeah.
grading against it.
Yeah.
So therefore, the perfectionism that I already have is like ramped up even
Yeah.
worse. I
It's
don't know
like
if
you
it's
have to do it. Like there were things that I was like, oh, maybe that won't work, but I couldn't change it because I'd put it in like my like proposal was like based around that. So I was like, well, I have to incorporate it somehow.
Oh, you can change.
you can
from your
change. Yeah,
proposal.
you can pivot.
Yeah. I promised. I said I would.
Yeah. I'm like, now I'm lying.
Yeah. I've had that where I've had books up for pre-order with covers and descriptions of it before I've written it, and it's like, oh, I can't change it. It's stuck now.
They
Yeah.
do the covers and everything so early.
Yeah.
Anyway, we won't get into that.
Anyway.
We're on horror
And
week.
Oscar, well, so we were talking off camera a bit about how you're both kind of in the horror gothic sphere, but Oscar, you probably lean less body horror and more towards the gothic. So do you want to tell us a bit about yours?
Yeah, sure. So what I'm looking at in my thesis is liminal horror, which is a genre which is really spiked in popularity parallel with the coronavirus for like obvious reasons. It's this idea of just being trapped in this never-ending cycle, which I think a lot of people had when we went into lockdown all over the world. But it's been interesting because to begin with, it didn't appear just from COVID. so I looked back at the history and I went all the way back to the Gothic, because with liminality in the Gothic, it's a very essential trope to the genre, but it's always been secondary. It's kind of like a tool for the narrative itself and the atmosphere and everything. And
so if we've got listeners who don't know anything about the genre or literary studies, how would we describe liminality?
So liminality, so this is the thing. So liminality is kind of its own thing in anthropology. So it comes from the rite of passage, in which I think it was Arnold van Gennep described in his book at the beginning of the 20th century. And he describes the middle period, or the transitional period, as the limen, which is Latin for threshold. And then later on in the 60s, we had Victor Turner, who expanded upon it. And he said that this is a point of transition where anyone that steps into this point has few or none other attributes of the past or the coming state. And it's this idea that, like everything moves forward, and you have to get from A to B by a bridge, by a threshold. So liminal horror is this idea of, what if you step in, you cross the threshold on this journey, but then you go past the point of no return, but then the way out is lost as well. So you're just stuck with this perpetual bridge that leads to nowhere. So yeah, so that's where it comes from, really.
That's an incredible description of it. I haven't heard it described that way before. And that, like, immediately as a writer, that makes me kind of excited, that thought of the bridge that doesn't go anywhere. So did you play with, do you play with that in your writing more?
Yeah, I do. Well, it's interesting because ever since I've been looking at it, it's one of those things that you see everywhere, and like not just in horror, but just in genres altogether. Like, because one of the most like common examples of the rite of passage is like the coming of age and adolescence, and we see this in narratives that are not particularly horror. So things like Jane Eyre, which is in all rights a coming of age, but there is a sense of liminality which pervades the entire novel.
Also a kind of brooding, I mean, I know that's Gothic, right? Which is where we get to those blendings, which are really interesting. But it's got such a brooding atmosphere, which I associate with Gothic, but also horror. That sense that the minute you step into the text, something's just a bit off and a bit uncanny and a bit wrong.
Yeah, that's not to speak on your research, but like whenever you explain it to me, that's like what I think of.
Oh yeah, it's definitely. There's much more.
Because the example that you gave me was The Shining. When you first started telling me
Oh,
about
it's
the
like
hotel in The Shining.
one of my favourite books and films for two different reasons. Like they're very different texts.
Oh, absolutely.
But the film is just sublime. Like the way it captures that. Like nothing's happening for a long time, but you are so scared. And it does feel like a liminal place, like because it's no longer, it's a closed hotel for the winter.
Yeah, exactly. It's the idea that the Torrance family come there for a temporary agreement because Jack's the caretaker for 6 or 7 months or however long it is, but because they're snowed in and it just goes on and on and on. And like in the movie, there's all those lingering shots of just these empty hallways.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing about liminal horror is one of the key things is when a setting is removed from its original context. So you have the idea of a hotel, which is a really public and open place for people to, go about their lives. And obviously you take that away and there's something inherently wrong about it. That's what liminal horror does. It makes the familiar unfamiliar and make it inherently wrong.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, if you think about horror, like both of you would have a wealth of texts you can draw on, but they often do pick those places, hospitals, hotels, and like places that are public, or the home, which is supposed to be safe, but it's suddenly really alien to us. So do you have other texts you think of? The Shining is a great one, I think.
Yeah, I think the other big one, and like probably the strongest example, and it uses the home rather than like a public transitory setting, is House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski.
Yep.
Which is I think it came out in 2000. And it's hard to describe because it's like a Russian doll narrative. It's a story within a story within a story. But the lower part is it focuses on this fictional documentary called The Naverton Record. And it's about this family that move into this new home, and the husband is a photographer. So he wants to document the family living in their new home. And they start to discover all these anomalies. So I think the first instance is the inside and outside dimensions of the house don't match up. And then before you know it, rooms and doors that weren't there before begin to appear. And then you see this big hallway that I think they call the 5.5-minute hallway just in the living room, and it leads into this big subterranean labyrinthine maze full of just empty rooms and doors that, again, are removed of their context and purpose. And it's this idea of making the house, which is supposed to be this place of sanctity and safe and comfort, and it turns out on its head, which I think all horror does and makes the familiar unfamiliar. So I think that's probably the strongest example.
I always think of like the back rooms, like video games. I feel like they played with liminal horror for a while there.
Absolutely.
That's my knowledge of it. Yeah.
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 Literally, we played one last night.
We
What
did.
were we playing last night?
We were playing Exit 8, which is about to get a film released. And it's a puzzle game, and it takes Tokyo underground metro stations. And the idea is you walk through this simple corridor, and the idea is you have to spot any anomaly.
Oh, yes.
And
Okay, I know this one. Yeah.
And they could be really subtle and they could be really obvious. I think 2 of them are like direct nods to The Shining, which I thought were really cool. And the idea is if you think everything is fine and all clear, you move on. If not, you turn back and you have to go around. But
See, I couldn't play this. I would immediately, I'm freaking out just thinking about it.
Oh,
I had a friend who had a
crap out of it.
VR, like one of those VR games, so you put the goggles on.
Oh, I
you know,
could not. No.
It was awful. And like you're kind of walking around this deserted hospital, and it's like dark with the flickering lights and doors swinging, and then you turn around and the killer's right behind you and kills you, and there's nothing you can do. You die. And I was just like, I'm never playing another horror game ever again. I feel like I just got stabbed.
We've only just started talking about horror on the pod, as this is the first episode. But I always have to distance myself from horror. I love horror and I love writing.
I love horror films and books.
Like horror and gore, but I cannot watch it at all.
Really? So not even films?
No visuals. None.
Lucky we're going soft.
Give me
with our after dark
nightmares.
film. This.
Yeah, I know. And I can't play the games, but I can watch people play the games. So I watch a lot of playthroughs of people playing these games.
The Alien
because there's
game?
like a separation.
Did you ever play the Alien game?
that
Where
is
you
terrifying.
that is so. I've watched my partner play that, and I can't even watch. No.
Speaking of examples, do you have examples of texts that you're using for your research that you want to talk to, and like why they are important to your research?
Yeah, it's kind of
Speaking to Tabby for our audio listeners.
it's kind of awkward because like I'm doing a creative writing degree, but all of my examples are films.
Right.
And I spent ages looking for books, and I found like one that was a porno, and I was like, maybe not that one.
Yeah.
So
Makes sense to me though, because they're the things that influenced you as an artist. Because I would say half of my influences are film. Because I did a film degree too, and I just. Yeah, it doesn't matter what it is. Like you often jump to a film, and also maybe because they're so narratively tight.
Yeah, I
that
think
you can talk about the plot, and they do atmosphere so well and setting so well. They have to because they're visual. Yeah. So it makes sense to me that all yours are film.
That makes me feel better because I keep going to like conferences where everyone's talking about literature, and I'm like, here are some movies that I've seen. So I'm looking at. So I look to start off with to like just talk about the mad scientist. Like the female mad scientist archetype, I looked at the new Dead Ringers adaptation, which was a movie made by David Cronenberg with 2 male gynecologists, and then they remade it with 2 female gynecologists. So I talked about that, and then American Mary was the other one that I talked about, which is like a 2000s horror movie. And then we're having some new ones come in, so like Lisa Frankenstein I talk about, and The Angry Black Girl and Her Monster was really good. And then there's one coming out late this year, so I've had to put in my thesis, like, I'm aware that this will exist by the time that you read it, but at the moment it does not, so I cannot discuss it. And it's called Dead Lover, I think.
Right. And you're looking really at the Frankenstein kind of trope.
That was my distinction, was that I talk a little bit about texts that don't have like a Frankenstein's monster, but my focus was that because I wanted to explore like the relationship between the creator and the creation, mostly because that's just what I wanted to write.
Did you pick? Yeah, I was gonna say, did you pick the novel first?
Yeah,
and
I
then
did the
pick
novel
a thing?
first. That's why I feel bad because the novel is very incest heavy because I came up with the idea first, and then I was like, this is not really like the research is there, but there is also a lot of incest. So now whenever I go to conferences, they're like moving back to the incest, and I'm like,
now
not my
you
research area.
but
yes,
you're gonna have to theorize
People
that
get
before it's
stuck on
published.
that, though. Like people listening who don't know you well and are like incest would also be like have questions about that.
In retrospect, maybe I should have done my thesis on incest in horror.
I think you should
Maybe
write an
I'll come
article
back.
one day.
Maybe
So,
I'll
and the
come back.
context. So when I first met you, we used to talk a lot about flowers in the attic.
Yeah,
like that
which I
was.
still talk about a lot.
Yeah.
I said it for book club. Oscar got bullied into reading it a little while ago. Not by me.
I
but
so
by
want to
Sean.
hear Oscar's thoughts on this because, like, when I grew up in the 80s, VC Andrews, like Virginia Andrews back then, just every schoolgirl was reading
yeah,
Virginia
right,
Andrews.
I find it because I thrift books a lot, and that
It's everywhere.
particular book is always
Yeah.
there. I can't escape it.
It was huge, and
I've
then there was
never
the
bought
film.
it. I
There
must
was-
say.
I think I was like in year 8 or 9, maybe when the film came out. Everybody saw
I
it.
made Oscar watch it. Actually, no, I didn't make you watch the film. You chose it.
Yeah.
This was so funny because I have the film on DVD because it's one of my favorite films. And he came over to watch a movie and he was like, oh, let's watch this one because it's one of your favorite films. And I was like, okay. And he put it on and he went, I actually don't know what Flowers in the Attic is about. So
That
this
makes
is
sense
good
now. The
for
choice
me."
makes
wow,
sense.
And I was
Oscar.
like, oh,
what
do
was
you
that
not?
like?
Crazy.
Did you hit a point where you're like, hold on a minute, but they're brother and sister?
Because the film cut the incest.
It's kind of
Indeed.
hinted
He was
at.
more confused.
It's kind
'cause
of
he was
hinted
like, yeah,
at,
it's
but
hinted
not-
You can see where it was cut.
Yeah.
Well, they said every time we show this film, people only talk about the incest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they cut. It was so annoying.
But it is
like,
kind of
there's a
part of
good
the
film in
point
there.
of the book.
No one's reading it for any other
And if you read
reason
the
for
sequels, they end
incest.
up married.
Yeah, no, that's what's weird. It's weird because the first, I say this a lot, the first 2 books are like a really good, like almost like cyclical abuse narrative that's really freaky. And then the other ones, it's like, yeah, we just got married and now we're in
Yeah.
love and it's fine. And it's like, oh,
Is it?
I don't know. That's weird.
They
But
s-
anyway,
Yeah, I mean, it was sold quite well because I think it came out. It's funny, we were talking about romance in August, and in our special issue, there's an article on the Bonkbusters, and it came out in the same era as like the Bonkbuster books, which were also really transgressive around sex. So I feel like a lot of people who read Flowers in the Attic actually did want her to end up with Christopher.
Yeah, they do. It's because there's still
Yeah.
a fandom and they do.
Yeah.
It's weird. And it's odd.
Yeah, well, I guess
Because
there's no
I
other
always
men
viewed
in the
it as a
text.
horror
So,
book, so I was like, yeah, no, it's weird. But
I mean, it's really creepy. So how did you react when that happened in the book, Oscar?
Oh boy.
Look at
Yeah.
his face. He had a bad
Like
time.
that.
Yeah, like that. Because I think that's how a normal person reacts to that moment of, oh, okay, we're going here. We're going to spoiler alert because I'm going to assume most of the world knows about Flowers in the Attic by now. But the bit that actually gets me is Corey's death.
Yeah.
That's the bit that traumatized me
Yeah.
because it's like, oh, you actually killed a kid. Like mostly they don't kill the kids.
Yeah. And it annoys me because in the sequel book, which I actually think is very good, like good. It's
Is
trashy
that
but
the one
fun.
where she's a ballerina?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the sequel book, it's like alluded to that they like shoved his body in a wall or something.
Yeah,
And he's
yeah.
like in there and you can smell
He's
him.
in the house.
Yeah. But then, because then Virginia Andrews died and this other guy took over her name and
And
is
it's
still
VC,
writing
but
books under her name.
they kind of gestured at it by saying VC Andrews, right?
Yeah,
Instead
and
of
like
Virginia.
he said, he's like, oh no, it's all based on like stuff that she'd already written. It's been 40 years. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
But he wrote a book that he was like, no, Corey didn't die. He was alive the whole time, and he got raised by this other family. And I was like, well, you've ruined the book.
Because there's My Sweet Audrina, you
Yeah.
were saying you're doing now
Yes,
for book club.
we're looking at that now.
And then Heaven, I remember Heaven was a
yeah,
big
so
book.
she wrote Flowers in the Attic, Heaven, My Sweet Audrina. I think she wrote all of the Flowers in the Attic books except
Yeah.
for the prequel.
Yep.
But then everything else has been written by Andrew Neiderman, who also wrote The Devil's Advocate, of all things.
Wow,
like, oh,
okay, I didn't know that.
I know. I was like, you did something so good, and now you just profit off this woman's name.
Hey, I've got a question for you guys. I interviewed recently Amy Hutton, who's got a horror romance coming out
know this is going.
in October, and it's called Ghosted. But we were talking about The Exorcist, and because she's like this massive horror nerd who has definitions of horror, like knows everything, has seen everything. And she doesn't think The Exorcist is a horror movie. She thinks it's a thriller.
We just had this conversation.
Jeez.
That's actually spooky.
That's creepy.
We just had this conversation. We were talking about thrillers.
So what do you think?
It's a horror movie.
I think so too.
It's a horror movie. We
It
had
makes
this
me feel
conversation.
horrible. There
It makes me
is
feel
a
bad.
horror.
There you go.
Yeah.
I think there's enough
Simple.
body horror in it
Oh, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
that makes it horror.
We just had this conversation because we were talking about Silence of the Lambs as well, which is like
Yeah, I love that film.
I love that film too, but
I love
there's
the
like a
book.
debate about like horror, thriller. And I was like, I have this theory that when movies that are clearly horror get called thrillers, it's because people don't put much stock in the name horror. So they're like, oh no,
That's
it's a
interesting
thriller.
because we have that with romance and love
Yeah,
story.
exactly,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah.
kind of like the same thing. That was, I think that
I
was
didn't
my
realize
theory on
that thriller was deemed more like prestigious
Acceptable.
than
Yeah.
horror.
Like
bit more
speculative
acceptable.
fiction.
Yeah.
Justina just sent us an article that was in Kill You Darlings. It's an article about how the term speculative fiction has kind of been used by literary people and particularly people at universities to describe all the things they wouldn't normally want to, like horror, like sci-fi, like fantasy. We just call it speculative fiction.
To me, they're marketing terms that I don't really like abide by. Like I feel like the genre of horror in general is about affect, right? It's
Yeah.
same
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
it is with romance. And if I feel scared,
Yeah.
then that to me is a horror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's I did a lecture a little while ago, and I was talking about how my broad definition for horror is anything that is intended to frighten. Like it's not about whether or not it's successful, because then you get people who are like, oh, that's not a horror, I wasn't even scared.
Yeah.
But like if the intention is to frighten,
Yeah.
I think that's
Like to
like a
elicit
good
the
definition.
response.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's got to be themes that are covered too, I think, because it feels like horror on some level is an existential genre, right?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Like it's absolutely dealing with in different ways. Sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's intense, sometimes it's like despairing, sometimes it's hopeful. But it always seems like it really is dealing with that big question of death and the body and what happens when there's damage to the body or the mind.
Yeah, pretty much. Which is why it's so funny now that we hang out with horror people, the amount of horror people that we talk to who are like, yeah, I've made my peace with death. I don't really, it's whatever. And it's like, oh, okay.
Sometimes I think the ones that are the scariest are around pain and anticipation. You know,
Yeah.
like those games we were talking about. It's about waiting for the thing to
Yeah,
happen.
I have a reoccurring nightmare that I've had since I was a child. I don't know if I've spoken about it on the pod before, probably not, but for Horror Month I will. And it's literally, I'm in a pitch black room. I can't see anything except a conveyor belt in front of me, and there's a spotlight on the conveyor belt. And the conveyor belt is running, but I can't see this end and I can't see that end of the
That's
conveyor belt, and it's
horrifying.
empty. And I just stand next to the conveyor belt waiting, and there's the anticipation and the knowledge that there is something coming down the conveyor belt and I should be scared of it, but nothing ever comes down the conveyor belt. And I just have that dream for hours.
What happened
well,
to
I
you as a
assume
child?
I was scared of the dark as a kid,
Yeah, I
so I
was
imagine
too.
that has something to do
Yeah.
with it. But there is something which I feel maybe is a liminal space. Right?
It is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, exactly. Yeah,
It's
it does.
everywhere. It haunts
It's,
you.
it's in you can see it everywhere. But no, it definitely is, because there's this build up of terror rather than horror.
Yeah.
Going back to like
Yeah.
the gothic meaning of the two, and it's because it invites your imagination, and I think that's the scariest thing. It's the ambiguity. It's because I remember looking up for my thesis, like we always try to impose meaning onto anything.
Yep.
It's blank, and like liminal horror does this especially. I think that's the core of the genre. It's the violent resistance of us trying to impose meaning onto nothingness.
Yep.
Because we can't bear the idea of nothingness.
Yep.
Like you said, going back to this sort of existential core. But yeah, absolutely. I think it works so well with terror rather than horror, because it's the build-up you don't know, and it's the suspense, and it drags on and on and on just at the right point, and then you have the release. So
And that is just purely because that's how we live, right? We're all
Yeah.
waiting. Like, I launched Jess Kitching's book, The Life Experiment, the other day, and that's based around this experiment where you can sign up for it and they'll tell you when you're going to die. And the question is like, would you want to know if you're going to die? Would any of you?
No.
No.
No, me
No.
neither.
I mean, it wouldn't really change my life in any major way. So
Would it though if you found out it was next week? What would you do? Like if it was
I don't know
in
that
a
there's much
year.
that I would do that was different.
Well, that's beautiful.
That
but in a
is
year would
really
most
lovely.
That's
Because I
really nice.
immediately was like, I wouldn't be doing anything that I'm
Yeah,
doing
I was
right
wondering,
now.
would you keep your job? Would you quit your job? Would you be in this relationship? Would you want to travel? Like, are you doing? I mean, that means you're living the life you want to live,
Yeah, I
Tabby.
mean, I'm
To be fair, I feel
fine.
like I would sit in my bed and I would cuddle my cat and I would just hang out with
Yeah.
I mean, it's in a week. Like, what am I going to do? I'm not going to like book a trip.
A year. What about a year?
Well, then I might book
10
a trip.
years.
well, that
different
changes
story.
things, Amy. That's not what you
yeah.
asked.
I might go
But
somewhere.
do you know,
I
like
don't know.
we're literally that idea of being in a corridor and not knowing what's
Yeah.
going to leap out and kill you. That's basically how we live. Like, you don't know when you're going to die, how you're going to die. And I think the human thing is, I'm scared it's going to be painful or unpleasant or
Yeah.
drawn
I feel
out.
like I live
or-
with the I just go, well, I'm not gonna die, so we're all good.
You live forever.
Yeah, I'm gonna live forever.
But then flowers.
So I don't think about it.
Flowers in the attic is not just about like what happens to you. It's about what happens to the people you love.
Yeah. 'Cause
Oh.
there's a part
Yeah,
in the
okay.
book where Kathy actually contemplates. She's like, I want to like jump out this window and get out
Yeah.
of this situation. She's like, this is wild because she's like 12 in the book, but she's like, I have 2 siblings who depend on me and they need me, so that's why she doesn't do it. And it's like, oh.
I do. That makes sense to me now because I was like, my own death, I don't care. But then the death of my loved ones, we just had life writing month, and I wrote a little piece about anticipatory grief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is almost worse than real grief, really. Like, grief is hard and bad, but you do hit this point where you're like, I'm coping, it's okay. But anticipatory grief is really hard because it's a phantom that hangs over you for years.
Yeah, that's that tension point, right?
So have you got like a pet thing that scares you? So zombies scare the hell out of me because they're relentless. I like the slow zombies. Like the slow zombies are the thing that scare me the most.
Yeah.
Because they just keep coming and you can't do anything about it.
Yeah, I don't like that.
It's like
that's why I
that-
couldn't watch It Follows because it keeps coming after you.
It's
and I
like
was
that story about the perpetual snail.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which
Like everyone has a snail following them,
crap
and
out of
if the
me.
snail reaches you, you die. But it's a snail.
No,
Yeah, but
I
it
would
just
not be able
keeps
to relax
coming.
knowing
You can't
it's
stop.
coming. Oscar teases me because I don't like carpeted staircases in movies. They,
Okay.
they really creep me out.
Tell me
they
about
slow you
that.
down?
Why?
Well, because we were watching, what were we watching the other day? We were watching Audition,
That was
which
it.
is like, which is quite a disturbing movie for those of you who haven't seen it. It's like a Japanese horror movie. This guy meets a girl, but she's psychopathic and she like tries to kill him. But that was fine. She like tortures him and she cuts his limbs off and puts like acupuncture needles in him and everything. That was fine. But then she like came down like a carpeted staircase and I was like, I don't like that.
So if it's a wooden staircase, it's
That's
fine.
fine. I don't.
What is it about the
I
carpet?
don't know.
But there is something about carpet because actually, if you think about it, like The Shining's carpet is a big thing.
Classic
Yeah.
pattern.
And then
I don't
actually,
like it.
I can think about other horror movies where even The Ring and stuff, where there are like carpets in the
Yeah.
image. Yeah, what is
No,
that?
again, The Grudge.
Soaks up the blood.
They
Does
do a
the
lot in
carpet
Japanese horror.
relate? This is. I'm pulling this out of nowhere. Does the
Yeah.
carpet feel more like a homely thing?
Maybe.
It relates to
Yeah.
home, and then the
I think that's
the
what it
fear
is.
and the
Something I
horror is
associate
within
with
the home.
grandmothers for some
Yeah.
reason too, like because most people don't have carpets anymore.
No, with
Maybe
tile.
that's
I'm a
what it
tile
is.
person.
But
Yeah,
whenever
maybe
we
it's
go
too
into
close
a
to
house
home.
now and there's a carpeted staircase, Oscar's like, don't look at it. I'm like, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Watch out!
Cover your
Watch
eyes.
out! So we
get
got
back on track.
carpets, carpeted stairs.
Carpets. And then, so Oscar and Abby, have you got things that you're scared of?
You can go
Did you-
first.
sure.
Yeah, go for
Yeah,
it.
I am terrified of snakes,
Oh yeah.
Fair.
particularly big ones. This is the weird thing. Like small
Picked a great
snakes-
country to move to.
Oh yeah, fantastic.
Oh my
I love it.
gosh, where this is like off-camera content. Well, we
Is
can
it?
put it in the no, we can put it in the thing. But we're doing the trend. We're going to film the TikTok trend where you like bring something from home. And
Do
I
not
spent
bring
the
a
entire
snake.
morning trying to work out if it was plausible to bring my snake. And I'm glad I didn't,
Yeah. I'm
because
glad
they
you
can
didn't
stay in
too.
like
Yeah.
a bag for a while.
That would go well. Is it come from a real place or just?
Well, I think see the thing, it's different things because, like I said, like with the bigger snakes, like the constrictors, it's the idea of swallowing things whole. And
Yeah,
for
that's
me,
pretty
like,
gross.
That's like a really innate fear for me, and that's like when you see it in films, like people being devoured. I hate that. But the other thing is, I have a strange, and I don't know where this comes from, but I have a strange fear of yellow eyes. And the snakes that have yellow eyes, that really does it for me. I do not.
Which is so funny because your cat
My
has yellow
cat's
eyes.
got
Yeah,
yellow
don't look
eyes.
into my kitten's eyes. They've got yellow
Yeah.
eyes.
His cat literally has yellow eyes.
Right.
It's also funny because my dad used to breed snakes and he was a snake catcher.
Yeah.
So fortunately, we don't do that anymore because
Yeah.
he would not
Luckily.
come in the house.
Luckily,
It's good though. He's a snake catcher. So if there ever is a snake, you're sorted.
Yeah, he'll show it to you though.
Oh yeah, well, yeah.
what's yours?
I don't have a specific thing that I see and I'm like, that's it.
Skin fungus is pretty gross.
Oh.
Like that's kind of scary. I don't want to get a skin fungus. You know, you get those ones with. I have a friend who's a comic writer, and he is terrified of like crumpets and holes and crumpet skin, and he has this kind of. He used to talk about any kind of fungus that gives you that crumpet skin, and I was like, oh, actually, yeah, I'll add that to my list.
I think for me, it's just like the serial killery, not like fantastical ideas of horror, the ones that are too close to home.
Yeah,
Like there is someone out to get you with a knife.
yeah.
Yeah. Like that for me is the most terrifying.
Scary men with
because-
knives.
Yeah, maybe it's men.
Maybe it's men.
Oh, I'm frightened of men. I didn't realize that was.
That was on the
Yeah,
cards.
Oh, well,
Actually, yeah, being in a
change my
room of
answer?
only. Yeah, no, that's true. Actually, if I walked into a room and it's only men and me, I feel a bit
you
intimidated.
feel unsafe.
Yeah.
right? Sorry, Oscar.
he's in the
like,
other
I'm also
situation right
frightened
now.
of men.
I understand.
Yeah.
Harry just gestured off camera, and it was like, you don't count, Harry.
Aw.
He's in a pink sweater with a sheep on
on
it.
screen. I meant like, yeah, I know.
For anyone who can't see him.
It depends on the man though, because like sometimes when we go to the horror screenings at Bonfire, it's like a fun queer audience, and you're like, yeah, this is great. And then sometimes you go, and it's like all these straight men start piling in, and I'm like,
And the people that awkwardly
Okay.
laugh at like the really disturbing
oh my
stuff.
god! When we went and saw Blue Velvet at the Palace Nova, and there's like a rape scene in Blue Velvet, and people. I say people, men were laughing, and we were just sitting there like,
Oh my God,
some
there is
comfortable
so much rape in horror too.
yeah.
Like if you think about Wolf Creek, if you think about, oh my God,
So
I could
Wolf
list
Creek,
them.
That's it. Oh, no,
No, I won't watch Wolf
that's
Creek.
terrifying.
Yeah.
No, I won't watch Wolf Creek.
I had a friend, because I lived in Broome for a while, which is very near Kununurra and that whole area. And I had a friend whose mother dated the guy that Wolf Creek was based off of before it all went.
Ooh.
Oh, that's creepy.
Yeah.
I read, I've forgotten her name, but the woman who was Ted Bundy's partner, I read her book.
Oh, and
And not Anne Rule, the other
I
one.
was thinking of
the partner that has written a book, and
right.
it's that's really creepy. To suddenly turn around and go, oh, my partner is a serial killer who's been doing these gross things.
Yeah, I worry.
Yeah, I read.
When I brought him home to meet my parents, my mum was like, he's too nice. He's probably a serial killer.
Smooth jazz.
And I was like, that's
over
great,
here.
Mum.
The other thing I want to talk about with animals, with snakes, is I remember going to see Jurassic Park at the cinema, which is a fun horror film, right? But actually being totally terrified
It is
in those
scary.
scenes. Like, the scene where they jump at their feet?
Yeah.
I remember like actually lifting my feet off the floor and the whole row had done it.
The Velociraptor scene in the kitchen where like it's
Yeah.
like, yeah.
And you
Oscar
suddenly
can't speak
realise-
to this because he hasn't seen it, but
You need to
I
see
can't
Jurassic
gasp. I've never
But
seen the
honestly,
originals,
like
but-
that was the film where I felt like Prey, where I got the animal
Yeah.
thing of like, I'm just an animal. I would be dead in this situation. There's no way I'm outrunning or outsmarting a dinosaur. That's what I'm thinking every
Okay.
time I'm watching a horror is like, if the zombie's coming at me, I'm dead. I'm no
Right.
good in these situations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
I
you'd be
I also have a
okay.
thing with those though where I'm like, where they do like the Walking Dead like apocalypse situation. I've said this to Oscar before. I'm like, I'm out.
Me too.
I don't have the energy actually. I don't. Whenever I watch like The Walking Dead or like 28 Years Later or stuff, I'm like, these guys have a will to live that I
It's like-
do not possess.
Like Cormac McCarthy's The Road, where the
Yeah.
wife, this is not a spoiler because it happens early on, where the wife is just like, nah, I give up. And she's like, you take the kid, and
Yeah.
she disappears. She
I was
goes
like,
off and kills
same,
herself.
babe, I'm
fair.
out.
Amy always says that no glasses.
I was going to ask Oscar this. It's like, I'm like, if there is an apocalypse, I'm screwed. Like my glasses will break at some point. I'll be blind. I'm dead. That's it.
Yeah.
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 I'd be the Velma of the group.
I
Yeah.
always
I can't see without my glasses.
Yeah.
Velma of the group.
Yep.
I always worry about
My brother calls me Velma. He says I look like Velma.
Oh,
Thanks.
maybe yeah. You should
I
dress
mean,
for
that could be
Velma
a
for our
nice-
next
she was
I'd
horror
rather
episode.
be
pretty in the live
Scooby-Doo.
action movies. She was stunning. I was like, Velma is
That is
adorable.
true.
So
Velma doesn't have to be skinny to be hot.
yeah. I
Yeah.
didn't say skinny. I said pretty.
I thought you said skinny.
No.
Oh, that says more about me.
Saying, Abby.
I thought you were
I
like,
think I'd
she's
rather be
skinny.
Shaggy or Scooby-Doo personally.
Oh,
Scooby-Doo would be
Scooby-Doo.
good.
I just want Scooby-Doo to be my friend.
Yeah.
I get scared of teeth things in like apocalyptic scenarios. Yeah, I had braces for a really long time. Imagine having braces
my
when the
God.
apocalypse.
Oh, imagine they
starts.
can't take them off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And I still have like the wire on the back of my teeth.
Yeah, so do
that
I.
would just hang out.
Oh, that,
there.
have you seen Marathon Man? The old 70s film with Dustin Hoffman?
No.
No, that's got this horror scene. So he's basically mistaken by these Nazis for someone he's not, and he's tortured. So he's put in a dentist chair, and the guy was a dentist, and basically tortures him by pulling out his teeth and giving him, like, causing him pain. And that scene is quite extended. And the question is like, is it safe? And he doesn't know what they're talking about. And he's like trying to convince them you've got the wrong guy, and they don't believe him. And just seeing like your teeth played with or like sharp objects put in your
Yeah.
gums, like the teeth are pretty scary
Like
actually.
that sequence in Little Shop of Horrors with Steve Martin as the
Yeah.
as the dentist, and he's like, it's from like the perspective of the mouth, and he's like jabbing around in there.
There is something
Great
about it
movie.
because people have those, like, it's very, very common dream for people's teeth to fall out. In their
Yeah, I
dreams.
googled it once.
Yeah.
It's like
I
if
have
you're
that
having
dream.
health concerns, you can dream about your teeth. falling
Stress
out,
dream as
apparently.
well.
Yeah. This is not a spoiler, but Bring Her Back, the horror movie that just came out from Australia, from the guys who did Talk to Me, has a teeth scene.
Oh, that was
That-
gnarly.
Made people cringe in the cinema,
Yeah.
including friends of ours.
I feel like, just to call attention to someone who's not sitting here, I feel like Justina has a teeth phobia because as we're talking, she keeps covering up her mouth.
Justina wrote a very interesting zine once about dental issues, so I do feel like
Like, this is a true thing.
this is not related to anything at all, but I saw there's a horror movie coming out soon from the perspective of a dog.
Yeah, Good Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I'm
will not
very
be
interested.
watching that.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people are saying, does the dog die?
Yeah.
Which is the main concern, obviously.
What were we, I think we were watching Audition again, and I got really mad at you because you forgot that
Yes.
my thing with horror is I can't watch a horror movie if there's like a dog. I can't. I'm like, I need to know. I won't relax and I won't focus on the movie. I need to know if the dog lives. I
Well,
need
that's
to
why they
know-
have the does the dog die
Yeah,
Google,
exactly.
right?
That website is like, it's like on my favorites, and Oscar forgot that there was a dog in Audition, and then this dog came out, and I was like, Oscar, does that dog die? And he was like, I actually don't remember, and I was like, what?
So how did you feel about Pet Sematary? Yeah. That's a rough film if
That
you
was a
did
cat.
like.
That was all right.
Oh.
Excuse
This
me.
is a cat-friendly
I'm
podcast.
sorry. No, I really like cats. I don't know why
I don't
it doesn't
believe you
bother me.
now.
No, I do really like cats. I didn't, and then I started dating Oscar, and he has a cat, and Whiskers is the cat that made me like cats, because cats don't like me as a general rule.
Cats generally don't like anyone as
No.
a general rule. They take, you have to ignore them and then they come
Yeah,
over.
I'm of the. This is nothing against you at all, Tabby. I'm of the opinion that if cats don't like you, you're the problem.
Probably.
I read an article and
Which says nothing.
No, I agree with
Abby,
you. I am the problem.
Abby is like a dog and cat and snake and everything person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I am
I
very
did read
much a
an
dog
article
person.
about dog people versus cat people, and it was around dog people. No offense, y'all, but this idea, and I've had dogs too,
Y'all.
but dog people need to kind of control the relationship. They need to get the affection back. They need to be loved. Cat people are like, I'm happy for you to do your thing. Like, I love you. I don't need
They
you
always
to love me
equate
back.
it to like men and how men who don't like cats is because cats have boundaries.
Yeah. That's a really good point. I think it's just because I grew up with dogs, and I grew up
if
with
you
like a
don't know
lot
them,
of dogs.
They're scary.
Well, I knew how to interact with dogs, and I didn't know how to interact with cats, and now I do, and I'm fine.
Every time Abby's on the pod, we talk about animals. So
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
But I'm
just
going to bring it back
happens.
to horror because animals do feature in a lot of horror.
And I'm not good with animal horror.
What about Cujo? Did you like
I've
Cujo?
never seen Cujo.
The book? Have you read the book?
I've read the book. I love the book.
devastated me.
That was
I
devastating,
cried. I
yeah.
had a baby when I read that book for the first time.
yeah.
And I just didn't stop crying for about 2 days.
That was a really good book.
Is that the one with the Rottweiler?
Yeah.
Well, he's
got
a
rabies.
Saint
Saint
Bernard.
Bernard.
He's got
they
rabies.
put Rottweilers on the cover of the book.
Yeah, they
I
do.
only
Kinda
lived through the
defeats
cover.
point
I've
of the
never.
book.
Yeah, right.
Because the point of the book is that Stephen King researched what is the cuddliest, most chill dog breed,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then I'm going to give it rabies.
I
I should have made it a Labrador.
This is
but
so animal person of me to be like, well, Rottweilers actually aren't that aggressive.
No,
They're
I
actually the
know.
sweetest babies ever. And I hate that they put them on the covers.
no, I know it annoys me too because Rottweilers are
It gives
I
them
would
a
love
bad rep,
Rottweiler, but
yeah.
that's the dog that they put on the cover.
One time we had
Just have a
Abby.
rant.
Well, what were we talking about? I can't even remember what the topic was. We ended up talking about goldfish for half an hour.
Yeah. Well, it could have been longer. But yeah, we're talking about how many fish should be in a tank. It's a whole thing. Anyway.
Yeah, that could be a horror movie.
We're not-
Are there
we're not-
any-
we're
I mean,
not
Jaws-
going there. Back to
Jaws
horror.
is a fish horror. There we go.
Oh,
We can
sharks!
bring it back.
There you go. I'm
scared of sharks.
terrified of sharks. I'm terrified of
Fair.
being in the ocean.
Yeah, fair. They're
Yeah.
scary.
The shark could eat me, and I can do nothing about that.
Yeah.
This is so funny because my toxic trait is that I don't like Jaws. I thought it was boring. that's
That is a toxic
That's my
trait.
toxic trait.
I
is
haven't
that
That's
watched
like
it
one of
because
my
I
top
will be
3
afraid of it.
movies. I love
my
Jaws.
problem with Jaws is that and this is where the feminist in me comes out, and I'm like, I don't care about these men. I don't care about these men hunting this fish. I don't care.
It is a very male film. It is 100%. But that speech, on the boat, is one of the best speech. Quint's speech is one
Yeah,
of the
that
best
is
things
true.
in film ever.
But I just, the movie really bores me. And I told Oscar that, and he was
It's
like,
very
my mum
slow
just bought you
too.
a Jaws t-shirt. And I was
Yeah,
like,
Tabby likes horror, and then she got.
That's sweet.
I was like, I love Jaws. It's my favorite movie. And
You
he
can
was
never-
Like,
we
you
will
can
watch
never
it
tell
all
her.
the time.
he ratted me out because he can't lie.
That's amazing.
No, I've swam with sharks a couple of times, but they are actually terrifying.
I have
swam
swam
with,
with
like,
sharks
reef
a couple of
sharks.
times. You need to explain that sentence.
I went and did the Port Lincoln great white. So I've been cage diving with great whites.
Why?
And then
if you hate sharks, why did you do that?
oh, so it looked fun.
Yeah, I don't think that's actual fear then. That's like they could eat me, that's reasonable.
No, but like if I'm in the open, when you're cage diving, you're in a cage.
If you're
and
in
I have
open
faith
ocean,
in the people who
the
run
chances
the
of a shark eating you if you just go for a swim down at Henley are not very high.
They are.
But
Have
getting
you
in
seen how many sharks we have down on our
yeah,
coast?
but people don't die every weekend. Whereas getting in a cage surrounded by them seems like a recipe for just asking
Literally,
for
that
it.
horror movie was based on that concept. Was it 47 meters down? Where like
Oh,
they're like cage
yeah, I
diving
would never
and then
watch
the cage
that.
like drops and they're stuck
In the-
and
in
they're
the
like locked
cage.
in a cage and they're like,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, and then
Cool.
I swam with them in Fiji, like reef sharks.
Yeah, I swam with reef
They're
sharks
like-
in Fiji. That was nice.
Yeah, and they're
I
like
liked the
many, many,
stingray
many
one
of
a little
them.
bit better.
Yeah.
They're like little sea puppies. They're great.
Sea puppies.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Sea puppies.
Yeah. Sea puppy would be a good
Sea
horror
puppies
film.
at a 6
instead
foot
of
distance.
Jaws.
We're getting to the end of the episode. We're running out of time.
It's time to wrap up.
Do you guys have some horror recommendations, film, novel, whatever it might be, going into October this year?
Yeah, I mean, sure. I mean, the one I always go to, and I'm biased because it's both my favourite book and my favourite movie, and it's Legion by William Peter Blatty, which is the sequel to The Exorcist. But the film is Exorcist
So good.
3 because there was Exorcist 2. No
I've
one likes
seen
to talk about
Exorcist 3.
We don't talk about Exorcist
We
2.
don't.
Exorcist 2 is boring.
Bad.
Really boring.
Yeah.
Really bad. But 3, good stuff.
3 is fantastic. I love it because it plays on it's the same premise as Exorcist, but it's a police procedural.
Yeah.
And it's sort of a murder mystery, and that's sort of the frame of the movie. I love it. And especially in the book, because there's a chapter in it where it's just between the protagonist and his friend Father Dyer, and it's the perfect. This is what I love about horror, because it's the perfect contrast between light and dark.
Yeah.
Because it's this really wholesome chapter where they're together and they just wisecrack with each other and just have such a good time. And then the next chapter, something tragic happens and it sets into motion. But yeah, I love Legion for that.
Oh, I'll have
Great
to
storytelling.
rewatch because I watched it when I was a kid, so I don't really remember it. And I haven't read the books. I'd love to read the book.
Good book.
Because
Lovely.
The Exorcist
Great
was
movie.
one of the films that most traumatized me.
Yeah.
We borrowed it, my brother borrowed it from the video library when I was 11 and my parents were out and I didn't sleep for the rest of the year. I was so scared.
I was traumatized for years when, like, on the internet, when they used Regan's face when she's possessed.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
yeah.
Everywhere I go on YouTube, I just try and find something, just innocently look for something.
And it would pop
it'll
up. Yeah, it's horrifying. And just, yeah, it was so traumatic. Tabby, what about you?
I don't know. See, because my favorite horror movie is Reanimator, which is like, I don't know if that's a really good pick.
I'd say it's good. It's a
Yeah.
good cult classic.
It's a cult classic. It's light.
Yeah.
If you like it, then it's a good recommendation.
Yeah, it's fun. It's gory. It's based on a H.P. Lovecraft story. I always think that if I could do like any double feature, like when they do the Monday doubles in town,
Yeah.
I would do Reanimator and Frankenhooker.
Yeah,
I think
right,
they would
cool.
go together perfect. That's another.
Did
good
you
one.
ever watch the
Frankenhooker.
Andy Warhol Frankenstein?
No, it's on my
No.
list.
Oh my goodness. They used to, when I was like at uni, they would run these 3D versions of it, like Dracula and Frankenstein. You need to see
Yeah?
the Andy Warhol horror films because they have incest, they have body horror, they
Sorry.
have,
That'll
but
do
they're
it.
like camp, they're high camp as well, but they're also they're just really off. And if you see the 3D ones, he was really playing around with it. So like there's a scene, I can't remember which one, if it's Frankenstein or Dracula, but there's like a grate and the dead body has been eviscerated, blood falls on the grate and all the viscera falls towards your face. Like you would,
that's cool.
you would enjoy those films, but they're creepy and weird. They're so
You had me
odd.
at incest.
Yeah, I thought
Seriously,
I might.
I need to
You
come back
had me at
to-
incest cannot be the title for this episode. Whoever is editing this, it cannot.
I need to come back and do a master's where I actually talk about incest in horror.
I think there's so much, but you could also just write about it as an academic once you
Yeah, I
graduate.
should, because I think there's probably a paper between the two of us if we talk about Flowers in the Attic from like a liminality.
Oh, definitely.
I
yeah.
think, the article, you could publish
Yeah,
it. Yeah, it'd be
there's a
great.
paper there. I'm gonna make you write it. Yeah.
Excellent, done. Okay, be prepared for more incest from Tabby and Oscar.
Oh my god!
No.
Wow. We did a a live show this week that we're doing this recording, and we were in in the library at the university.
And they put us in the
and they put us in the
entrance.
main level 1 of the Bedford Library, and they just put like the smallest like barrier around us to indicate that we were going to talk, and then we had microphones and spoke while all of these students are trying to study. And we were talking about dark romance, so we were talking about rape and porn and stuff, and I just imagined us having this incest conversation there.
This happens to me a lot. The moment I'm like, and there's also incest. They're like, and tell me more about the incest. And I'm like, is this going to be what I'm known for as an academic?
Probably.
And the answer is yes.
You just got to embrace it.
Yeah.
Abby.
Do you have any recs, Abby? Have you got any horror stuff?
I really like The Troop by Nick Cutter, I think it is.
Yeah.
That's a good
It's
one.
like kind of, it's a bunch of kids on a camp who go to an island, and there's like a bug that gets to the island, and
It's
they
like
all
a
start
tapeworm.
like a tapeworm. Yeah, they all
Yeah.
get this tapeworm and start like deteriorating and eating really weird stuff. It's the very first chapter. A individual who has this tapeworm is imagining eating roadkill off the side of the road. So it's very like gory body kind of horror. And I loved it. I thought it was really good.
I'm a massive Stephen King fan, so most of
You and I could
stuff.
talk about Stephen King all
just
day.
love, and I love a lot of his early work. The Stand's my favourite. I love The Stand.
I'm really excited because we were talking about it this morning actually, because The Long Walk, the movie,
I
just
know,
came
I'm
out. It's got
looking
really good
forward to
reviews.
seeing that.
And I
Yeah,
was
they
like,
changed
that's-
things.
That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah.
Well, they kind of need to, because I taught that recently, and I was like, oh, there's things that really did not age well.
Yeah.
It's quite, you can be quite homophobic. It's quite homophobic.
Oh, I'm not sure
Like-
if that's what they
Like
changed.
change that
too.
for sure, but I think I heard somewhere that they changed the ending as they are wont to do with Stephen King's. But like I was like, oh, The Long Walk is one of the actual Stephen King endings that I actually
It's really
quite
good.
like.
The other one
Yeah,
I think
they
is
did. They changed
really underrated, which I think they're making as well as The Running Man.
Yeah, we watched the trailer for that. That was we went to the movies to
Yes.
see something.
Because
We go to movies a lot.
the novella is in this current context is so good.
It's very
because
timely.
It's about a guy who has no money and is living in poverty, and his wife has to become a prostitute to help support them. Their daughter is sick and dying. She's a baby. She's dying of something, and there's no set in this kind of future America where there's no healthcare, there's no safety net, there's no, and the only thing you
Future
do,
America. Where
yeah,
there's no
well, it was written in the 70s. It was written
Okay.
in 77. So it was talking about, it really is coming true, right?
Yeah.
And the only way he can earn money is they have these game shows. There's like Dialing for Death or whatever, and they all end up in people dying, and he signs up for The Running Man in hopes that even if you die, you get a bonus, or that every day you stay alive, you get a bonus. So even if he dies, they'll be able to save his kid. And it's really dark, and
Yeah.
it's such a good
And
story.
The Long Walk is kind of dark in that same way.
Yeah,
So it's like
that
if
was
you
my
win, you
favourite
can-
for years,
you can
The
get whatever
Long
you
Walk.
want.
But
Yeah,
going
that's the
back,
one that I take on road trips. I take The Long Walk.
it's so dark, and it's that thing. I think Hannah Kent's Burial Rites does this. You can probably think of a bunch of texts where you're just watching it happen. Like
Yeah.
you know what's going to happen.
Yeah. It's
And
one
you
of those
just
things where
watch
you're
it
like, well, you
happen.
know everyone's probably going to die.
Yeah.
The Stand kind of does that a little bit.
The
Like,
Stand,
think
I love the first half, and I
Yeah.
don't love the end. I just feel like it peters out, and I have some
ending's kinda
criticisms. Like the girl Fran.
Yeah.
It's like it's like my criticism of like episodes 1 to 3 of Star Wars is like the girl's kind of interesting, and then she gets pregnant, and then she has no personality,
Yeah,
does
she's
nothing
like,
ever again.
I'm going to have a baby.
Yeah, that's it.
What's going on with me.
Yeah, but I like the first. I think the first half is amazing.
Yeah. I think my thing with The Stand was that because there's so many characters, I was like, oh, this is terrible because you know people are going to die.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love The Stand. I went and got a version of The Stand that was back to the original cut.
Yeah,
version.
I've got that too.
Yeah, because I think that's better.
I like
the
both.
long
Yeah, I
version
like
is
both
just
of them,
bloated.
but yeah, it is really long. And it obviously is incredible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
also very long. I do skip chapters in it when I
Yeah.
read
It's
it.
it's
I'm
like
oh, I don't
a slow read experience, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he's fascinating. And then I was a bit obsessed for a few years with Katrina Ward when I read The Last House on Needless Street.
Yeah, you
I've heard
recommended
good
that to me,
things.
and it was really good.
I love her writing. I think she's great. But there's so much. I probably, like you, Tabby, am more into film than books when it comes to horror.
Yeah, I'm getting more into it because our colleague Charlotte is English literature PhD, so she's doing horror, so her whole thesis is books.
Yeah.
So she's constantly recommending books
Yeah.
to us that we otherwise wouldn't have read.
Yeah, and I
Which is
do
really
love them,
good.
but going back to growing up, like I think I grew up in the 80s and 90s and it was just the era of horror.
Yeah.
Like there was so much.
We're having like a renaissance of feminist horror, which
Yeah.
is really great. Tender as the Flesh is probably a good book example as well. Thinking of examples.
Yeah,
I
that's
loved
good.
that book. That was great. But
And
yeah.
her new book as well.
The new one you said
The
was quite
Unholy,
good.
which is really, really good.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I'm going to have to get a list off you because I want to spend my summer reading horror, I think.
Yeah, no, it's been really good.
It's been exciting to see it back on the bestseller
it's
list
been
that
great.
people are reading horror again.
Yeah.
Great. Well, I think we're out of time. We
Yeah.
could just talk to you guys all day. Thanks for joining us, Oscar and Tabby. If you want to keep an eye out for their work, will be publishing their work in the next few years. I'm sure both the articles and the novels. So it's Oscar Sparks and Tabby Knight. Again, I wish I had a name that good.
I know.
Yeah.
And then as like partners as well. Wow.
Yeah.
What a combo.
Yeah. Would you ever hyphenate it?
No.
Sparks Knight, Night Sparks? No.
That was
We've had this discussion.
Sparks Night, Night Sparks.
There is no changing my name once I get my doctorate.
Yeah.
I love you. I'm not giving my doctorate.
Night is a
to
great
you.
name anyway.
Yeah, no, it's perfect.
He didn't ask.
Yeah, I know. I know.
I was going to say, like, didn't do anything. What happened there? Everyone turned on me. Well, thanks for joining us for the first week of horror.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
See you guys next week. Next week, we actually have another special guest, and we're going to be talking about horror romance and queer horror romance. Always romance with us.
Yeah, there's always like, we're going to do this week, and one of the weeks will be that genre with
But
romance.
romance. Yeah. Anyway, so we'll see everyone next week.
Bye.